Hello, I'm Lawson Braden, and today I'm going to be doing my midterm biographical presentation over Vladimir Lenin. We're going to start with his birth and family. He was born on April 22nd in 1870 in Simbirsk, Russia. Simbirsk would be later be renamed to Ulyanovsk in his honor. His parents were Ila Ulanov and Maria Alexandrovna Ulanova. Ila was a well-respected teacher, later a director of public schools, and then an inspector of those public schools. And Maria was also a teacher, but would give up teaching to take care of him and his four siblings. His siblings were Alexander, Olga, Anna, and Dmitry, Maria, and Nikolai Ulanov. Here's a picture of his father and his mother. These are like the only two pictures of them that you can find. His early life. In his early home life, it was pretty nice. His parents were upper middle class, so he wasn't really struggling financially. His parents were well educated and had stable jobs, and his family was happy and loving. He graduated from high school at the top of his class. He had always been an avid studier and was fluent in Latin and Greek. His eldest brother was hung when he was only 17. Alexander was a part of a terrorist group plotting the assassination of Alexander III of Russia. His father passed after a cerebral hemorrhage, but prior to this, the Russian government forced him into an early retirement as they were boycotting like schools and stuff. Right here would be his brother Alexander, and this is a young photo of Vladimir. At age 17, Vladimir found himself to be like the new man of the house because his father and his older brother had passed away, and his house now had a bad reputation because his brother had been a terrorist. And Vladimir and his family weren't totally screwed financially, however, because of his mother had a pension and a pretty big inheritance, and kept them afloat and stable for a while. Vladimir's high school principal had given him a strong recommendation that allowed him to get into college, even though his brother had been a terrorist. And that's what was stopping him from getting into a lot of colleges prior to that. He attended the Imperial Kazan University as a faculty of law. The university would later be renamed after him. It also has a statue in front of him. He was expelled, however, due to an illegal assembly, which him and a few of his student classmates had done. He was sent to live with his sister in a small village in Kukoskimo, Russia. The next year, authorities had permitted him to go back to Kazan, next year, it was 3 years. After that, he was permitted to go back to Kazan, but he wasn't admitted back into the university. And there's a picture of the school, and that's the statue of him. What's my time? Vladimir's education and early practice. He relocated his family to Samara, where he attempted to gain an entry into another law school, which he was denied. And then he started a petition, and after much petitioning, and he was allowed by local authorities to take the examinations to pass his tests and practice law, which he did, and he earned himself a first-class degree in 1891. And by 1893, he had been practicing law as a public defender for like the poor and underprivileged people. The formation of his revolution. In his time practicing law, he grew to understand that the law was biased toward like the upper class. In 1895, whilst working as a public defender, some of his comrades requested he make contact with some Russian exiles over in Western Europe. Those exiles included Russia's most commanding Marxist, Georgy Plekhanov. When he returned, he had successfully united the newly formed Union for the Struggle for the Liberation of the Working Class. And that's him right here in the middle, and then that's the other members of that party. They would go on to do a few things, and him and some of his comrades were arrested in 1895. Vladimir was jailed for 15 months, and then he was again exiled, but this time to Shishkinoye, Siberia, where he would also, or where his sister was also exiled to. They would also, no, this was his fiance, was also exiled there. And while they were there for I think it was 3 years, they were married during that exile. While he was exiled, there was a group forming known as the Mensheviks. These two had been in disagreement for a while now. After the revolution of 1905, the distinction between the two was clearer than ever. The Mensheviks were semi-peaceful in their protest methods, opting for union strikes and protests, somewhat like you see in the civil revolution that we had. Lenin was part of the Bolsheviks, and they were more violent, as in they didn't. One of the Mensheviks who opposed Lenin had this to say: "There is no other man who is absorbed by the revolution 24 hours a day, who has no other thoughts but the thought of revolution, and who even when he sleeps dreams of nothing but revolution." That just shows how committed and driven Vladimir was towards his revolution. And the Bolsheviks, in October of 1971, Vladimir and his Bolsheviks started a revolution to overthrow the Russian government. They boycotted elections, refused to cooperate with other authorities or other public figures, and they gained money for their party, not through honest methods. They robbed and stole from other people. The Soviet Union was formed in December of 1922 after many of Vladimir's revolutions. It was led by Vladimir and consisted of 15 republics: Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Estonia, Georgia, Pakistan, I'm not going to pronounce that one, Lithuania, Moldova, Russia, Pakistan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, and Uzbekistan. It lasted from 1922 to 1991. The death of Vladimir Lenin. Vladimir Lenin passed away on January 1st of 1924 after falling into a coma caused by a disease in his blood vessels. Lenin and his wife were very devoted to the revolutions that they had taken part in and led, and due to that, they never had any children. And after Lenin's death, the Soviet Union was passed on to Joseph Stalin, who would lead the Union through World War II. And that's it.